Hello there, everybody. I am Lauren Gabrielle, and this is Everyday Magic Live, a podcast by Everyday Magic, the Sacred Ordinary. Hello, Irene. Thank you for being here. Um, let's see. So today I'm coming to you from Chennai, India. I arrived here this week. Time is funny for me. Haven't been here very long, just a couple of nights. And today there's a couple of things that I want to share in this podcast. And the first is to not believe a word I say. Very interesting topic that popped into my mind. And also how important it is to not wait to do something until you're ready. And have a great example around that. And of course, no episode of Everyday Magic Live would be complete without some travel stories. And so I want to tell you about my arrival after finishing up with South America and heading through Toronto, about how I got myself to Ireland and my first experience with driving on the left. So I'm going to tell you about that too. So that was also my first ever pet sit. So settle in and let's do a little bit of magic. So first of all, why shouldn't you believe me? Believe anything that I say? Really, actually, why you shouldn't believe anyone. And it's because when I tell you about the world, I'm really just telling you the way that I experience it, right? There's no matter how many places I go, no matter how many conversations I have, no matter how much information I bring in, it is all through my lens that's shaped by my lifetime and my beliefs and my outlook on life, right? So what's my truth is not necessarily your truth. So and this came to my mind as I was noticing that Sydney has a culture that is very much like that of the United States. Um, and I found olive oil and avocado oil potato chips, even the same brand that I would get in the States for the first time since I left here in Australia. And just, hold the SUVs and the wide roads and the um, very fit people. That's kind of not the same as America. People in Sydney are very, very fit and beauty conscious. I saw a whole lot of thongs. We'll have a whole other episode about the levels of nudity around the world, but that won't be for today. So truth is slippery, right? So hand that same experience to someone else and they're going to report it to you in a completely different way. So what if we, instead of seeing a news report and going, oh, that's happening, just letting that be one possibility for what could be going on in the world? One aspect, one perspective. And the same when you listen to me or any other traveler or anyone else who's trying to tell you anything about anything, that nothing has to be nailed down as the truth or as the fact. And we don't have to gather everything together into a puzzle that all the pieces just fit perfectly so that we know the whole picture, because that's just not how life goes. It's constantly mutating and evolving and changing. And, something that we think we know today, we have an experience tomorrow and it completely changes it for us, right? So letting go of having to know the end and to know the whole story and to know um, exactly how everything works out, and letting it be okay to be in the question and letting it be okay to share with one another and not expect it to be, yeah, don't hold me responsible for the way that you are seeing the world. Just let me inspire you to see it for yourself and form your own opinions, right? All right. So I'm looking at my notes to try to keep myself on track here. Um, yeah, I think that covers the don't believe me. So if I were to pretend that I understand the whole world, that would be like scooping up a cup of water from the ocean and then saying understand the whole ocean, right? Excuse me, ludicrous. Hi, Candice. Hello, Anamkara. Thank you for being here in Montreal, Canada. Um, yeah, so Toronto came into my mind too. I don't love Toronto. I didn't have good experiences there. I didn't get a great feeling about Toronto. So I just don't talk about it much because I don't want to share bad news, bad stories. There's plenty of that out in the world. Um, but I am going to tell you some treacherous, fearful stories about Ireland in just a minute. All right. So then the next thing, this brings me to having the courage to start what you want to start, whether you feel ready or not, no matter what. And this came about because Candace and I have been doing this body work together every day for several weeks now. And once I was convinced that I was in the groove of that and that I was loving it, that was helpful, I decided that I would open that up to my subscribers, which is going to happen on Samhain, on Halloween. So be looking out for that. The paid subscriber tier will be called the Magic Makers, and we'll have an opportunity just about every single day to get together and do this body magic together. But anyway, in the course of getting this ready to launch to everyone else out in the world, I made a full length video of my whole body to demonstrate the routine. And when I looked at it, I realized how high on the heavy spectrum I am. My weight has always fluctuated, and I don't weigh and I don't measure, and my world doesn't really have a whole lot of mirrors. So really all I know is how my clothes are fitting and how I'm feeling. And I knew I was a little bit heavy, but I didn't realize how much weight I had gained until I saw this video. And of course, my ego and my vanity is like, oh no, you're going to have to wait. You're not a good example. You're not a good teacher until you slim down. But that's not the truth. The truth is I love my body just like it is. I do want it to be slimmer and lighter and more agile. And I do intend to get better and healthier and more vibrant as my life goes on. But that doesn't mean that I don't love it like it is now and that you shouldn't love your body just like it is now. So we're going to start in whatever size I happen to be on Halloween. And we're going to keep going. And maybe I will stay this size for ever or for a long time. Or maybe I will slim down through this journey through Ayurveda in India. Who knows what's going to happen. But the point is, if I were going to wait, I might never start this beautiful gathering that we're going to do together. So don't wait to be ready. Jump on in. The water's fine. Okay. All right. So I do. I'm going to tell you more next week about what actually happened in Donegal because it was a beautiful experience. I met great, amazing people there. But I first want to tell you a harrowing travel story about getting there. All right. So I had it in my head that I wanted to rent my car from Turo, which is, it's like the Airbnb of cars where and I don't know if it's in the States now or not. It was in Canada. But it was not in Ireland, but it was in England. So I'm like, oh, it's okay. I want to ride the ferry from the UK over to Ireland. That will be fun. I thought this would be just a beautiful, magical adventure to get my car in Manchester, which is the name of the town I was born in. Of course, in the United States, in Tennessee. But I would rent my car there and drive over to the ferry and ride on the ferry across to Ireland and then make my way across the beautiful Emerald Isle to Donegal. Well, I'm an amazing driver in the United States. I'm absolutely fabulous, but those skills did not perfectly translate to driving on the left. And as soon as I found that car way back in this little neighborhood in um, Manchester, I got in it and made my way off this little bitty street, but almost immediately knocked off the left-hand mirror, which I had been warned might happen, but I still didn't get it. It just wasn't oriented. And did finally figured out how to make my way quite a distance from Manchester to Holyhead, where ferry um, the ferry port is. And it should have been just like an hour, but it wound up being like three and a half, just because I was so bad at driving. So I missed my ferry. It's been a whole stormy day in Holyhead, and then had to catch a later ferry, which put me in Ireland, driving in Dublin for the first time. on the wrong side of the road in the dark. So terrifying. So I had that night in Dublin and then made my way again, a 5 or 6 hour drive to Donegal took me more like 13 or 14. And seriously, my hair was white by the time I got there. It was so terrifying. Um, so I learned that I don't love driving on the left. I learned that it's quite terrifying to be on narrow roads and be disoriented and things like that. But I also learned that it's something that I could face and grow from it and learn from it, and yeah, and gain a beautiful amount of freedom. You know, I still tend to avoid having to drive a lot if I can, but I never let fear keep me from doing something that I really, really want to do. But that's something that I have to keep working at over and over again because that uneasiness around driving is always there, right? So my hosts in Donegal were, again, this was my first assignment through Trusted House Sitters. So we both had very thorough profiles. So we were able to discover that we were all three, it was a couple, we were all writers. They were writing teachers, they hold writing retreats. Um, and he was like just a very, very distinguished author. And she was, in addition to being a writer, also an herbalist. And so we had so much in common just on paper through our profiles. And we got on a video call and loved each other. And so that was my first pet sit in Donegal, Ireland. So next week I will tell you a little bit more about that, about being on the beach and the three lovely dogs, and going to a Kaylee and meeting a real Irish storyteller artist who took me on a brilliant little tour of Bridget's Wells and taught me the story of the Giant's Eye. Anyway, I'll get my notes together and tell you all about that next week. So thank you. Let's see who's here. Carly won't give up. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you won't give up. Teresa, and of course my Candace and Irene. So again, I always welcome your questions and your comments, and I will guide all of the information that I share according to what you express an interest in. So share your questions, share your comments, share what's on your heart in any way, form, or fashion. And be sure to click the subscribe button, the follow button, whatever button is around, to be able to stay connected with me, because we really do have some amazing things coming up. Very soon, in about a week on Samhain, we're going to launch the Magic Makers, which has all kinds of treats for our local community. We're working on a launch of a new program in January that is it's a women's circle. It's a sacred garden where we are able to come together to learn and grow in a beautiful spiral of self-reflection and um, transformation and embodiment, kind of in the flow of the lunar cycle, more or less. But I'll be talking more about that as time goes on. Okay, so I think that is everything that I had to share with you today. So just as a reminder, make up your own mind, make up your own heart. Don't let any outside source be the dictator of what your truth is. And if something intrigues you, if there's something that someone presents as fact, um, then go do your own research. Figure out if there is really any factual truth to it, or if it even matters, right? Whether there is any factual truth to it or not. And perfect example, Bob the Free Radical says, our commander in chief is practicing black magic. Stating this like a fact, Bob, it's not cool. And it's clearly your opinion. You're stating something that is your opinion as if it were fact. And there is enough misinformation going on in the world. We don't really need any more of that. And so, but we all get to be in our sovereignty, and we all get to make up our minds about what we care about and how we feel about things and the kinds of conversations that we have. Right. So, um, I think that's our show for today. Yeah. Decide for yourself what your truth is and do what you want to do before you feel like you're ready. Don't let fear make your choices for you. I love you dearly. I think we are going to be doing this next week at a slightly different time because it's 8 p.m. here in um, Chennai on Friday. And this is a little bit late for me. I'm usually asleep very, very soon now. So this might be a little bit earlier next week. But again, if you click the subscribe and follow buttons, then I will I will try to keep you updated and give you plenty of notice as to what time we're going to be here next week. Staying in the dance of my truth, Irish Dawn. Candace, yes. That's a beautiful, beautiful message. All right, my dears, I will see you soon. Thank you so much for being here. And yeah, keep embracing and creating the sacred ordinary and making your own everyday magic. I'll see you soon.